Do you remember the good old days? I do. I remember back when I had a single buddy list of my closest friends running in a native application on my desktop. I used Trillion for the longest time. Then when I switched to Linux, I used Pigeon. Do you remember Pigeon? Oh man, that feels like another lifetime ago. These apps, Trillion, Pigeon, Empathy, heck, even the likes of MSN Messenger would allow you to sign into multiple chat services like AIM, ICQ, Facebook Messenger, Google Chat, and others. Mind you that this was an era before we had single sign-on, before OAuth gateways were all the rage, and before anyone had heard of RESTful APIs or even asynchronous HTTP requests in the browser. Yet enterprising developers were able to build a user experience which unified disparate messaging services into a single application, and it mostly just worked without any hassle. You'd sign into your AIM account, and then your ICQ, and you'd be able to chat with all of your friends on both services. You'd see all your friends in a single buddy list. You'd get notifications from one app. Chat windows appeared the same across whichever service you were chatting through. And then when your one weird friend who used MSN Messenger gives you his screen name, you can just make an MSN account and then add it to your chat app. And then you have all your friends across AIM, ICQ, and even, Brett on MSN, all in one buddy list, in one app. It was simply delightful, and I have fantasized about those days frequently. Yet somehow today, in a world of APIs and standardization, OAuth gateways, ActivityPub, and machine learning, we have arrived in this hellscape that is proprietary gate-kept chat applications. iMessage, Wire, Signal, Telegram, Kik, Snapchat, Discord, WhatsApp, Slack, Microsoft Teams, and Facebook Messenger. All of these chat applications have the same features, and they work mostly identically at least the surface level. Many of them have end-to-end encryption. They have file transfers and all of the other things that we've come to expect, even audio and video calls, most of which are built on the same WebRTC technology. Yet none of them are interoperable with each other, even when a number of them are developed on top of the same free and open source XMPP protocol. So today, when your one weird friend who only uses Wire gives you their username, you can't just make a Wire account and sign in through Pigeon. Instead, you have to go download the app on your phone and on your desktop, and then you have another app that you don't like or maybe even don't trust that's running through Electron, taking up CPU cycles in the background. So now you have Telegram and Signal and Discord and Microsoft Teams and Slack, and now you have Wire, all of them wasting extra CPU cycles on your machine, thereby unnecessarily edging us closer to global climate catastrophe. Well, it seems the EU is working on legislation to force tech companies to stop the stupid crap of non-interoperable chat clients, among other things. This week in the European Union, a new bill, the Digital Markets Act, has been adopted as a new draft law. This is huge as, at least in theory, it could compel big players like Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, and other feudal tech lords to lower the drawbridges that keep their third-party chat clients out of competition from each other and allow for interoperability between chat services. Just like the good old days. See, it all came back around. Now, notably, this legislation isn't exactly focused on chat clients specifically. Instead, the new law is meant to curtail anti-competitive practices of so-called gatekeeping platform holders. Quote, the draft law blacklists certain practices of large platforms and enables the Commission to carry out market investigations and sanction non-compliant behaviors. Behaviors spelled in a decidedly European way. Behaviors. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, to put it simply, the EU rightfully believes that tech companies are creating an atmosphere of not just anti-competitive, but completely unfair business practices, and the EU commissioners are looking to curtail those bad behaviors. This draft regulation will apply to major companies providing so-called core platform services most prone to unfair practices. These include online intermediation services, social networks, search engines, operating systems, online advertising services, cloud computing, and video sharing services, which meet the relevant criteria as being designated as gatekeepers, but it will also include web browsers, virtual assistants, and connected devices. Wow, that sounds like really strongly targeted legislation that could actually be able to make a difference. So what does the law actually propose be done about all of this? Well, first of all, they need to identify the gatekeepers. Companies that provide core platform services in at least 3 EU member countries, have at least 45 million monthly users, and at least 10,000 business users, as well as having 8 billion euros in annual turnover in the European Economic Area, will be categorized as gatekeepers. This means that they fall under the jurisdiction of this new legislation, and gatekeepers can be fined if they inflict unfair conditions on businesses and consumers. So they're trying to halt unfair business practices, and that's a good thing. First, this law places new requirements on micro-targeted advertising and the interoperability of communication services and social network services. Gatekeepers shall, quote, for its own commercial purposes and the placement of third-party advertising in its own services, refrain from combining personal data for the purpose of delivering targeted or micro-targeted advertising unless there's a clear, explicit, renewed, and informed consent. Damn, that's great. They also plan on halting killer acquisitions. Now, it's no secret that Facebook, I'll never call them Meta, have used their vast install base on Android and iOS devices to covertly surveil the market for potential challengers to the emotional crystal meth they call services. And they've used that market surveillance to buy out or otherwise unfairly compete with those up-and-coming rivals. The EU bill is looking to put an end to that. The bill foresees the ability of the Commission to restrict gatekeepers from making acquisitions in areas relevant to the bill in order to remedy or prevent further damage to the EU's single market. Okay, but what about the interoperability stuff? Now, the press release that they have on their website really didn't dig into the interoperability stuff to my satisfaction. So we actually went digging into the text of the law itself, and we found this. Section 5.2 Article C states, a gatekeeper shall allow and technically enable the installation and effective use of third-party software applications or software application stores using or interoperating with operating systems of the gatekeeper and allow these software applications or software application stores to be accessed by means other than the relevant core platform services of the gatekeeper. There's also verbiage here that allows the platform to maintain the integrity of their services, provided they do so in good faith. The gatekeeper shall not be prevented from taking measures that are both necessary and proportionate to ensure that their third-party software applications or software application stores do not endanger the integrity of the hardware or operating system provided by the gatekeeper or undermine end-user data protection or cybersecurity, provided that such necessary and proportionate measures are duly justified by the gatekeeper. You know what? It's nice to read a law that actually kind of gets it. And this one seems to. It really does. Though I feel like they're not using the term operating system as we would, but whatever. Okay, so let's talk about the fines then, because this is important. Essentially, if a gatekeeper fails to comply with this legislation, then they can be fined with a minimum of a 4% and up to a 20% total turnover of the year. That's essentially global yearly revenue. 20%. Now, if Microsoft were fined 20% of their global revenue for 2021, they'd pay about $33 billion. I mean, that's a lot of money, but it's also kind of chump change for Microsoft. Honestly, I'd be in favor of a maximum fine equivalent to 100% of the year's revenue for the most egregious offenses. Because again, we're talking about some of the worst and most vile companies in existence who can afford to be evil when the consequences weigh so little against their bottom line. Now, I haven't read the entire law, granted, but what I do know is that what I've read seems truly excellent, and I can't wait to get a brand new feature update in Pigeon in a few years. Heck yeah. But I would like to know what you think. Do you believe that this is the right move, or do you think that this is an egregious violation of personal liberty? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I want to give a special shout out to my patrons and my YouTube members, without whom I would not be able to do this. It's because of you guys that I've been able to hire a writer to help me write these episodes and research them. And also, you've enabled me to hire a part-time editor who can help me produce more content for you guys more frequently. Thank you very much for your support. It means so much to me, and I don't have the words to express my gratitude, except to say thank you. That's going to do it for this video. If you believe in the work that I'm doing, you can hit that like button and subscribe to see more from me. But as always, I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.